It's invested into stocks. There are a lot of things that you do with money that it continues to multiply your money, but it's not just sitting there. It doesn't make money if it's just sitting there. So understand how to use money when you start making it, but also realize you can make as much as you want. You're the driving factor in the amount of money that you make in your business. I love when coaches, consultants, and professional service providers want to do big things in their business. They want to rise to the top and influence their market and the world around them. They want to have a greater impact and make a more lucrative income. Well, if this is you, welcome to Expert in You Podcast, the show where I interview other experts and coaches, consultants, so that they can share their success strategies with you. We're going to talk about marketing and how to close more sales, how to get more premium clients, and how to really build your visibility in the market and scale your business like a boss. If this is you, welcome to the show. I want to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss one episode. Grab your coffee and buckle up because we are ready to give it all to you to help you become the expert and get paid as the expert that you are. If you want to make more money in your business, then you are going to want to tune into this video because there may be some things stopping you from really hitting bigger levels in your business and stopping you from making the money that you really deserve to make and want to make. I want this video to be around money mindset, a mindset for success. Now, I don't really think I've done a video around money mindset because typically the people that I work with already understand how to have a healthy money mindset. But I do think that these are very important principles to share because sometimes the wrong mindset around money can show up in really weird ways in our business. And I'm going to share some of those ways with you. So many years ago, in 2015, I wrote my very first book called Insider Secrets to Small Business Success, More Money, More Freedom, More Fun. And the very first chapter in this book is around mindset. And it's because when I really figured out how important mindset was in the success of my business, it changed everything. And so when I wrote this book, it's really a great book for kind of startup entrepreneurs or business owners. It goes through some of the hardest things that I learned and the things that I felt moved the needle. But the very first chapter was around mindset. And the first thing I talk about is having a mindset for success and decide on success. And the reason I say decide on success is because for a very long time when I was building businesses, I don't think I really decided on success. Like I thought, I don't want to fail. I want to grow. But it wasn't about really making a decision to have something highly successful, like a conscious decision. But when I decided on success and I said, I want this to be successful, I want this to go here, meaning I set goals. When I decided that, it changed everything because now I made different decisions. And so the very first thing I talked about was deciding on success. And if you don't decide that in your business, then you are probably going to do more flying by the seat of your pants. You are probably not going to be making the best decisions because you're not really thinking about sort of the end game. You're sort of staying in the moment versus thinking longer term. So decide on success. Now I want to talk around money because a money mindset can be good or bad, right? You can have a great money mindset and you're making a lot of money and you understand money and money doesn't scare you. You realize it's a tool, it's a resource, it's replaceable when you know how to make it. Or you can have a mindset where it's scarcity, right? You want to hold on to it. You want to hold on to what you make. It's limited. There's only so much money to be had. And so I want to talk about the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset when it comes to money. And I want to share a couple of stories on how it showed up for me in my businesses when I didn't even realize that's what was going on. So a scarcity mindset means you're subconsciously maybe consciously thinking that there's a limit, like there's limited resources, there's limited money to be made. And that just isn't true. there is more money to be made. In fact, there's more money to be made now than ever before. I just saw a statistic that there are 600,000 new millionaires in the United States every single year. Think about that, 600,000, 1,700 new millionaires a day in the United States. Now, if that doesn't blow your mind and think, oh my gosh, there's so much abundance out there, well, I'm hoping this will shift that thinking for you. But I want to share with you one way that scarcity showed up for me without me even realizing it. So many years ago, when I was building one of my fitness businesses, I was in a small town and there were about 15,000 people in this town. Half of them were adults and half were kids. So I'm going to take the kids out of it because I was an adult club. And that means there were about 7,000 people in this town, roughly 7,500 people in this town that could be potential members of my fitness business, right? But I had heard a statistic that 10% of people in an area, in a local area, will buy into a gym membership. So this is the way scarcity showed up for me. I started doing the math. Okay, there are 3 health clubs in town. If 10% of 7,500 people are going to buy a gym membership, that means there's 750 people to split up between the 3 clubs. Now I look at that and I'm almost embarrassed that I thought that way and that I actually did the math and figured that out. I am embarrassed about it actually. But back then, I didn't have exposure to everything we have exposure to today. So I couldn't just Google things, and I didn't have the internet and all the things that we have now. And so that thinking did not serve me, because what it did was it put subconscious limitations on the money I could make, but it also did, I believe, stop my growth until I realized that isn't the way to think at all. The better way to think is, okay, there's 7,500 people in this town that could be potential members. How can I get 40% of those? How can I get 35% of those? Forget about the competition. How can I capitalize on those people? And then how can I capitalize on the other 7,500 that are kids, right? So that would be more of an abundance mindset, thinking differently. Okay, and then what are some other ways that I could make money in my club besides just memberships? Well, of course, I figured all of those things out, and I was able to continue to expand and grow, and I was able to sell 5 businesses. So I did learn this, but I just remember how it showed up. And I even talk about that in this chapter of my book. And so when you start putting limits on the amount of money you can make, check your mindset, check that and work on that internal mindset, because it will stop you in your tracks. You do not want to put limitations on what you can earn, because the possibilities are endless. The opportunities are endless, especially in the marketplace today. There are 1,700 new millionaires a day in the United States. 1,700. So there are endless possibilities for you. The other thing that you want to think about with abundance is that you cannot save your way to success. You cannot save your way to wealth. Unless you're making millions of dollars a year, you cannot save your way to wealth. And so the way to learn to multiply your money is to reinvest. There are a lot of things you can reinvest in. For me, I continue to reinvest into those businesses. So when I was ready to sell those, I had a lot more assets. But I also reinvested into coaches or people that could help me further my success as well. I invested into resources and books and trainings, things that could help me earn more money. So if you realize that money is replaceable, if you realize that money is a tool and a resource, and there are no limits to the amount of money you can make, and there is abundance of money, okay, if you realize that, then you will make different decisions and you won't try to hold on to money. One of the big things that I see people try to do is they hold on too tightly to their money. They make money and they don't want to use it. They don't want to reinvest it. They don't want to spend it, because maybe somewhere in their mind they're thinking, well, what if I can't make this money again? But that isn't how you make money. You make money, again, using it as a tool, using it as a resource. Pay yourself. By all means, pay yourself. But the really big dollars come when you continue to grow from your money. You grow from your money. So you have to understand that if you're going to make a lot of money and you're going to build wealth and you're going to become a millionaire. Also, when you become a millionaire, most people don't get this. You don't sit with all that money in your bank account. Again, you're not hoarding it, you're not holding on to it. It's invested. I can't tell you the amount of times I've had to move money to do something because we don't sit with all that money in our bank account. It's invested. It's invested into property. It's invested into assets. It's invested into CDs. It's invested into stocks. There are a lot of things that you do with money that it continues to multiply your money, but it's not just sitting there. It doesn't make money if it's just sitting there. So understand how to use money when you start making it, but also realize you can make as much as you want. You're the driving factor in the amount of money that you make in your business. I mean, I believe if you have been called to business, you can build wealth like nothing else from business. But you have to think differently and you have to realize that money is the resource and the tool to do this. So, are you holding on to it? Are you hoarding it? Or thinking like, okay, again, that's a scarcity mindset, right? Or are you reinvesting it, trying to multiply it, learning to multiply it, learning to manage it, and learning how to, really how to grow that money? The next thing I want to talk about that can stop you in your growth is money guilt. Money guilt. What does that even mean? Well, for me, it showed up when I went out and bought a new car, when I had one of my fitness clubs and I went out and bought a new car. And my right hand person, my assistant said, "Ooh, don't let your members know that you bought a new car." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Oh, that just wouldn't go over well." I had to really work through that because I had this guilt all of a sudden around the fact that I went and bought a new car. Now, here's the reason that doesn't make sense. I was the one risking everything to have a business. I was the one that sometimes didn't always get a paycheck because maybe I was reinvesting back into my business to make it better for my members. My members were getting what they paid for. I wasn't ripping anybody off. I wasn't cheating anyone. They were getting more, in fact, more than a lot of times what they paid for. But the fact that she planted that in my head and that I allowed that to be planted in my head was a big eye opener for me. I didn't realize that I had a guilt around making money. Now, here are some other ways this can show up. Maybe you're making more money than your spouse, or maybe you're making more money than relatives, or your kids, or your friends. It can show up in that way too. There's guilt a lot of times associated with making a lot of money. So when you are successful, a lot of people call it fear of success. To a degree, it is, because if you're making a lot of money and you feel guilt around that in some way, or almost like you're embarrassed or ashamed or you don't want to talk about it, that's also a mindset problem that's going to stop you in your tracks and really limit what you are going to be able to make. So let me just very quickly go back over these things again. First, decide you want success. You'll make different decisions. You'll think differently. You'll have a different vision for where you want to go. But also understand the difference between scarcity and abundance, and not just understand it, but really check yourself and how you think about money and your mindset around money. And some of those things that I talked about, are you doing those things? Maybe even subconsciously, right? And then finally, money guilt. It's a real thing. If it shows up, you will stop yourself from making money, or you'll kind of hide it, and you'll hide out. And another thing, another way that money guilt shows up is, I was kind of raised like, you don't really talk about what you make, and you don't. Those are private things, right? That's kind of I think that's an American thing, quite honestly. You don't really talk about the amount of money you make, it like it's big, some big top secret. And I remember when I came online and I would hear entrepreneurs talking about how much money they were making, like it was a really hard thing for me to talk about. Now the FTC is kind of cracking down, and so some of that is changing. But that was a really hard thing for me to grasp because I wasn't raised that way. But those are all things that show up in our mindset that we're just not even aware of until we are aware of them. So I'm hoping this video will make you aware of where maybe some money mindset problems or limitations or beliefs are showing up in your business because they are stopping your success. They're really stopping you from reaching the level of potential that you can reach or reaching your full potential. So I hope this was helpful. I would love to know your thoughts around this video. Let me know. And listen, if I can help you build and grow your business to that $1,000,000 or even beyond with a handful of high-level clients so that you can make more and work less, well, I would love to have a conversation with you to see how we could work together to make that happen. You can book a call with me at acarden.com. And if you want to grab this book, Insider Secrets to Small Business Success, you can grab it on Amazon. Make sure you leave a review. Let me know what you think about it. It is just filled with great principles, and it's really a great blueprint for any entrepreneur or business owner getting started, or who's maybe been in business for a long time and they just need an extra nudge or some extra help. So you have an amazing day. God bless you. Go rock your business. Bye-bye. If you've enjoyed this show, then I want to invite you to check out a free automated webinar where I show you how you can bring in ultra high fee clients for $25,000 to $125,000 or even more. I show you how you can do this maybe even in the next 7 to 60 days. So if you want to check out that free webinar, just go to expertinyouaccelerator.com and I'll see you on the inside. You have an amazing day, and until next time, God bless you. Go rock your business.